Okay, good morning and welcome everyone to the next session of the Strong Families, Strong Communities virtual conference. I'm Amy Chapa, and this session will highlight six wonderful family science interns who focus their effort this semester on resiliency research. This session is being recorded, and we ask that all participants keep both your audio and video off during the presentation portion of the session. This will protect the bandwidth and hopefully prevent potential issues with lagging. We have some great interns to hear about, so let's get started. Our featured intern presenters all worked with the Lamar University Resiliency Think Tank. They are Kiera Davis, Chloe Flanagan, Cheyenne Leatherwood, Brianna Proscia, Danielle Smith, and Sherelle Walden. We'll begin by viewing the video reports that they've prepared for us, followed by a Q&A where we will be able to ask focused questions about their specific internship experiences.
Can't hear the audio, Amy.
Hi everyone, my name is Kiera Davis and I was a research assistant for maternal homelessness and a resiliency think tank lead. My mission as a research assistant was to assist the knowledge gap between those in need of resources and how they can find them during the time of the vulnerable time that they're in. I conducted a literature review on the maternal health outcomes. I created a brochure that provided the top 10 things needed for donation. And I kind of just over the time of researching just summarize all my findings into the artifacts that provides education for now and in the future. Being a life of research assistant for maternal homeless was different each day. I made sure to kind of like do hour blocks and, you know, have different activities for myself. So things I did throughout the time was engage in support groups to make sure that it felt community it felt like a community. It felt like I could be accepted, or if I was in a position of being homeless and I needed to connect with others. I call community centers. Sometimes it does. I realize it does take a long time to get in contact with them. Some of them had like emails. That's kind of like the best way I saw. But sometimes when you're in dire need, you do need to call. So it's kind of like you have to call multiple times to some of them. Researching maternal website for free resources. I attended trainings that provided current information about the future planning. And also, the most impactful was watching testimonial interviews about women who have already experienced maternal homelessness on the street and how, they had to survive and like what kind of things helped them throughout their time. One of my strategic plan goals was to improve maternal health outcomes among homeless pregnant women, and that was like basically making sure access to healthy nutrition during the prenatal was key. So the website or the company that I chose was the WIC program. It is based off of Women, Infant, and Children program. In 2025, WIC served approximately 47,000 benefits in Beaumont, Texas, which it doesn't represent the families, but it represents benefits. So in the benefits, it can be categorized between 3,000 and 5,000 um, as one, but it's saying 47,000. So as you can see, the numbers are pretty high for Southeast Texas in general. And it shows the healthy concern that women and children need during the time of prenatal, and it shows that also that if with the program itself has been able to provide a lot to women during this time of need. This is the artifact spotlight for the family life and education part of my artifacts. Virtual support groups was something that me and Dr. White had talked about, and we both agree, like, this part of the support is needed during, maternal homelessness. It's overlooked a lot of times. So I researched a bunch of groups that offered free support available at every stage of the prenatal and postpartum journey. It also, they had just supportive community. Each of them, they have some was local, which is the Surviving Parents of Southeast Texas. Most of them offer online and Zoom and kind of like in private, so when you can be on camera or not on camera. They provided a good amount of support to those in need, and I felt like it would be a good mental wellness check-in for anybody, during this time. This artifact spotlight is for the 10 essential items for donation. This is impactful awareness, a call to action to community, and the urgent needs for the maternal homelessness. So if you are looking to donate, I have listed a location in every, like in the Southeast Texas area. So Beaumont, Port Arthur, Orange, Vidor, Nederland. And the top 10 things needed is maternal clothing, non-perishable food items, hygiene kits, baby clothing and blankets, prenatal and postpartum care, gift cards and transit passes, light travel baggage for mom and baby, comfort and support items, portable baby gear, and diapers and wipes. I've reached out to midwives and community centers, and all these items are like most requested or sought after items needed to, help provide for a mother in need. As I reflect over my time as a research maternal assistant for homelessness, I have expanded myself to understand the in-depth journey of maternal homelessness, and I know the impact that I can make and you guys can make to bring awareness to this situation, and also just to help in any way that you can. Sometimes we don't think like we what to do, but like the last slide showed you like the 10 things that you can do. So you can go through your food pantry and just kind of connect with your local community places that house women in these time periods to help, and just send things periodically or whenever you can, because a lot of times people are overstocked at their home. But this journey has made me look at things a lot different, showed you how blessed you are and where kind of where you never want to be, and then give you empathy and sympathy for those who are in that position. For my acknowledgement, I would like to thank Dr. White for the opportunity. I have been privileged and honored to represent the virtual resiliency think tank to bring awareness to maternal homelessness community. It was a pleasure of getting to do this type of work. It has helped me learn more about myself and also what I want to do like in the future. So I know whatever I want to do after, getting my bachelor's degree this May is pursue something in the maternal field, something that I feel very connected to and I want to impact and make a, even greater statement in. And I thank Dr. White for this opportunity to allow me to explore and to understand it more better so that I know going into the future what I want to accomplish.
Hi, my name is Chloe Nicole Flanagan, and I completed my virtual internship with the Resilient Think Tank from January of 2026 to May 2026. The Resilient Think Tank is an organization focused on research and resources that support students and communities facing challenges. During my internship, I mainly worked on research projects and created educational materials focused on the connection between education and students experiencing homelessness. Throughout my internship, I researched the relationship between education and homelessness and explored ways educators can better support students experiencing homelessness. I created several artifacts, including infographics and structured resources that teachers can use to identify, support, and advocate for these students. This experience helped me better understand the barriers students face when challenged with homelessness encounters in school settings. My overall goal for this internship was to study the connection between education and homelessness so that teachers can better support and advocate for those students. I was a child of foster care, so I was a foster student, and my teachers that knew really made an impact because they knew how to help and they were trying to help. And I want to be able to not only be that teacher for those students, but also help other teachers be that teacher because I might not have a student experiencing homelessness, but my fellow teacher right beside me might. And that teacher can step in, intervene, and make sure that that child's career and education is solidified and that they have a plan going forward. One of my main learning objectives was to learn the characteristics of students experiencing homelessness without stereotyping them or making assumptions. One outcome I achieved while creating multiple infographics and classroom-ready resources that educators can use to identify, support, and address students experiencing homelessness. While I did not work directly with students, my metric of success was the creation of long-lasting artifacts that can be used in classrooms to come, and also they can be created to adjust to when more information and more research comes out. The first infographic you see right here is the artifact I created that was a timeline showing the changes in homelessness and education over time. The timeline highlights important historical moments beginning with Federal Task Force in 1983 and ending with the recent research from the National Center of Homelessness Education between 2017 and 2023. I included this artifact in my professional portfolio as well because I plan to use it in my future classroom on an informational board. I can also share this research with other teachers so they can better understand the history behind students' homelessness. The artifact you see on the far side is another artifact I created, which is a 7-step program designed to support students experiencing homelessness. This program helps educators identify and connect with students, ensure their basic needs are met, provide academic and emotional support, assist with college and career preparation, and help the student plan for their long-term future. Like my timeline, this resource is included in my professional portfolio, and I plan to place it in the teacher's lounge so other educators can use it as a guide when supporting students experiencing homelessness. My favorite part of this internship was gaining new knowledge and creating meaningful artifacts that I know will be useful in my future career. Even though the research was challenging at times, I enjoyed thinking creatively and seeing my projects come together successfully. One challenge I faced was feeling stuck during my research when it seemed like I was repeating the same information in different ways. However, over time I learned how to expand my thinking and make each artifact unique and meaningful. This internship strongly supports my future career goals because I want to become a teacher who's not only educates their students but also helps change their lives. Teachers play an important role in shaping students, and having the knowledge and resources to support students experiencing homelessness will help me make a real difference. Being a virtual intern also helped me improve my time management and creativity, which are important skills for teachers. Overall, this internship was an incredibly valuable experience that helped me grow academically and professionally. It gave me the tools, knowledge, and confidence to support students experiencing homelessness and prepare me for my future career as an educator. So I want to thank everybody, especially Dr. Janelle White, who was super helpful with helping me stay on task and knowing exactly where I should be when I should be doing it. And then I also want to thank the other virtual interns and also the interns on campus because they really helped me when I was in a stuck place on my artifacts and not knowing where to go.
Hello, everyone. My name is Cheyenne Leatherwood, and I'm excited to share my experience as a Resiliency Think Tank intern at Lamar University. Throughout this internship, I had the opportunity to focus on community resilience, social issues, and strategies that support vulnerable populations, particularly individuals experiencing homelessness and housing instability. This experience allowed me to expand my knowledge in human services while strengthening my passion for advocacy and community support. The Resiliency Tank's mission centers around addressing social challenges through research, outreach, and community-based solutions. During my internship, I explored major issues surrounding homelessness, barriers to stable housing, and the importance of resource accessibility. I also gained practical experience in advocacy, communication, and research that can be applied to future work in education and human services. A typical day in my internship involved researching homelessness, community challenges, and support systems. I created informational material and presentation artifacts, attended collaborative team meetings, and helped organize data. These tasks allowed me to better understand how research and outreach work together to create meaningful change. This role taught me the importance of teamwork, organization, and using data to support real world solutions. One strategic objective of this internship was to connect individuals to a central community resource while increasing awareness of available services. Supporting individuals through outreach, improving access to community resources, increasing engagement with support services, promoting awareness about homelessness and housing instability. This strategic plan emphasized that sustainable change begins with education, connection, and accessible support systems. One of the major artifacts I created focused on understanding homelessness. This project explored common causes of homelessness, national and local statistics, barriers such as mental health, unemployment, and lack of affordable housing. Creating this artifact helped me better understand the complexity of homelessness and the need for compassionate, informed solutions. Another important project highlighted the value of 211 community resources. 211 services provide individuals and families with access to housing, food resources, mental health services, and emergency support. This artifact demonstrated how critical resource awareness is in helping people navigate difficult circumstances and connect to essential support. This internship has been an incredibly valuable experience. Through this opportunity, I strengthened my research abilities, improved communication and collaboration skills, expanded my understanding of homelessness and social barriers, developed a deeper appreciation for community advocacy, but most importantly, this experience reinforced my commitment to helping others and contributing to meaningful social change. I would like to sincerely thank Dr. Janelle White for her leadership, mentorship, and guidance throughout this internship. I am truly grateful for this opportunity and for the knowledge, experience, and professional growth I have gained. Thank you all for your time.
Hello, my name is Brianna Prochet, and I am a 2026 Community Outreach Intern with the Resiliency think tank. During this internship, I focused on a topic that is both complex and important: homelessness, and specifically the risk factors that lead to it. This experience helped me build my academic skills while also gaining a better understanding of real world social issues. My internship mainly involved researching the risk factors that lead to homelessness. One of the biggest things I have learned is that homelessness is usually not caused by just one issue. It is often a result of multiple challenges happening all at once. These can include structural factors like the lack of affordable housing or unemployment, as well as individual factors like mental health struggles or substance abuse. I also looked at how these factors connect and build on each other, making it harder for people to stay stable. Along with that, I explored ways homelessness can be prevented through early support and resources. Since my internship was virtual, most of my day involved research and organizing information. I spent time reading articles, identifying key points, and breaking down complex ideas into something easier to understand. Over time, I got better at finding reliable sources and summarizing information clearly. This has helped me improve not just my research skills, but also how I think through and explain real world problems. One of my main goals for this internship was to strengthen my critical thinking and research skills. I wanted to better understand the topic I was studying, not just complete assignments. As I worked through my research, I learned how to gather stronger, more credible information and use it effectively in my work. I measured my progress by looking at the quality and number of artifacts I created and how well I can explain my findings. The first artifact I want to highlight is my literature review. This focused on mental health and substance abuse as risk factors for homelessness. I looked at how each one can lead to homelessness on its own, but also how they can overlap. For example, mental health challenges can make it harder to keep a job, and substance use can make it more difficult to find stable housing. The second artifact is an infographic on structural risk factors. This includes things like poverty, lack of affordable housing, and limited access to health care. I included statistics to show how serious and widespread these issues are. The goal was to raise awareness and to help people understand the bigger picture behind homelessness. Looking back, this internship has helped me grow a lot. I now have a stronger understanding of how complex homelessness really is and how factors are involved. I also feel more confident in my research and writing skills. I am better at organizing information, thinking critically, and explaining my ideas clearly. Overall, this experience has helped me take a more informed and thoughtful approach to social issues. I would like to thank Dr. White for all the consistent help she has provided me during my time spent as a community outreach intern in the Resiliency think tank. There are many times that your guidance has helped me advance, especially during my time writing my literature review. Thank you for your time.
Hi everyone, my name is Danielle Smith. In this presentation, I will be sharing an overview of my internship experience with the Resiliency think tank during the spring semester of 2026. During this internship, I focused on studying and researching homelessness through a multidisciplinary and research-based lens. Throughout my internship, I explored homelessness from several different perspectives, including mental health influences on housing instability, dysfunctional family dynamics, and systemic gaps in support services. A major focus of my work was understanding how these factors overlap and contribute to homelessness in complex ways. In addition to researching these topics, I developed skills in academic and applied research methods. I learned how to analyze scholarly sources, identify patterns across studies, and recognize gaps in existing research. I also worked on translating complex academic information into accessible materials such as infographics and educational artifacts. I contributed to ongoing projects by creating resources that future interns can use, and I participated in weekly meetings where I received feedback and collaborated on project development. A typical day during my internship involved starting usually with academic research, and I would use databases such as the Lamar University Library System. I would search for scholarly articles that are related to homelessness, mental health, and family instability. After gathering the resources, I organized the information into categories and I analyzed it to identify patterns and gaps in the research. From there, I transformed my findings into visual materials such as infographics and presentations to make the information more accessible. A major part of my internship also involved brainstorming and developing my long-term project, which is a documentary that focuses on homelessness and my own personal lived experience. So my overall goal during the internship was to explore homelessness through a mental health and survival mode perspective. My specific learning objective was to develop stronger research skills related to homelessness and survival mode and mental health. One key outcome of this objective was strengthening my ability to analyze and synthesize scholarly research effectively. To work towards this, I participated in a webinar on how to use the university library database and then applied what I learned by creating a presentation demonstrating those research skills. I also translated my research into visual artifacts, which helped me to communicate complex information in a clearer and more engaging way. So the two artifacts that I chose to share were both video presentations. They were my first time making any sort of video presentation in Canva. But so the first one was a research presentation video where I synthesized all my findings on the connection between family instability and homelessness. In this project, I explained how mental health challenges are often linked to a lack of family support, and I also used clear visuals to communicate these relationships. The second artifact was a literature review presentation where I summarized strategies for effectively navigating academic databases. In this project, I highlighted techniques for finding credible scholarly sources and demonstrated how I applied those research skills directly to my internship work. One of the most powerful parts of this experience is being able to create my documentary and actually have my story in the documentary, and receiving support from from the other students without judgment. That really helped me to gain confidence in the importance of storytelling and research working together. So this internship is especially meaningful to me because the research I completed actually reflected and validated my own lived experience with homelessness, foster care, and trauma. It helped me better understand how the systemic gaps can impact individual life paths, including my own. So, one of the most powerful and impactful moments during my experience was being able to meet with the other interns and share what I had. Because before I did my well, it's not done yet, but when I was still in the process of creating the outline for my documentary, I received a lot of support from the other interns when I was sharing my story and how to align that to the research. And they were completely open and non-judgmental, and it really instilled a lot of confidence in my ability to not only tell my story but then also being able to apply that to the research as well. So I would like to give a special thanks to Dr. White, who is the internship coordinator and professor who oversees the Resiliency think tank. I am truly grateful for her support in helping me transform my own personal experiences and stories into my academic work. Um, and she encouraged me throughout the process and helped me build the confidence to share my story with others in a way that was both impactful and constructive. So I'm really happy about that. So we've made it to the end of my presentation. I just wanted to thank you guys for watching my presentation and for taking the time to learn about my internship experience with the Resiliency think tank.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sherelle Walden, and I am a Resiliency Think Tank intern of 2026. The purpose of my internship was to investigate school readiness amongst children experiencing homelessness in Southeast Texas. The key focus areas was the impact of homelessness on early childhood development, access to educational resources and support services, data-driven strategies to improve school readiness. Day in the life of my internship was based on research focus and activities. For research focus, I investigated the correlation between homelessness and school readiness. I reviewed studies and data on cognitive, social, and emotional development, and I identified barriers to school enrollment and attendance. For some of my activities, I collected the data from McKinney Vento Law, local school districts, literature reviews, online resources such as NACI and Schoolhouse Connection. I created artifacts to match my understanding of research. I analyzed trends and outcomes for children experiencing homelessness. My internship strategic plan objective was researching the increase of school readiness for children experiencing homelessness in Southeast Texas. I used the program Texas Education Homeless Children and Youth. The metric measurable data I researched was a state data of 116,014 students experiencing homelessness in Texas. in the year 2024 to 2025. The percentage of homeless children enrolled in early childhood programs, the kindergarten readiness assessment scores pre and post support, attendance rates of identified students, and the number of students connected to support services. Based on data analysis and literature review, outcome based on research would be improved readiness skills, language, social emotional, and cognitive, increase access to pre K and early education programs, and greater school stability and attendance. These are some of the lab artifacts that I have created. The first one is a mind map on school readiness and homelessness in Southeast Texas about topics related to school readiness and homelessness in Southeast Texas, like local context, research findings, resources and strategies, local context, impact on children, and school readiness. The second one is a family life education flyer for parents to receive from caregivers and teachers. It's a resource that has 211, how to call 211 to ask for assistance uh, for for needs. It's a flyer that also has information on how to contact the workforce solution for assistance with childcare while they search for a job. My reflection. My reflection is I gained knowledge of homelessness, impact on child development, learned about the importance of early interventions services. My most powerful memory is reading about family challenges and research about 12.5% of homeless students are unaccompanied. Special project research on school readiness and homelessness correlation in Southeast Texas and the numerous amount of families that are in need of assistance every day. At this time, I would like to give a special thanks to Dr. White for guidance, mentorship, and professional support. I am greatly appreciative for the learning opportunities and experiences during my internship. Thank you.
Wow, those were great video reports. Now it's time to open up for a Q&A with the interns. Interns, if you can, please turn on your cameras now so we can see you. And we ask that all attendees keep your cameras off during the duration of this session so that we can focus on the interns. We also ask that all attendees leave your microphones off unless you're asking a question. This will help keep any unexpected sounds from distracting the rest of the session.
Do we just ask the question or are we going in order?
Sorry, I'm trying to highlight everybody right now.
Okay,
Am I missing
sorry.
anybody? Sarah? All right. So if you have any questions for one of the interns, please raise your hand or please use the raise hand feature and I'll call on you to ask your question. The raise hand can be found in the meeting toolbar to the left of the red leave button. You can also raise your hand by clicking Control Shift K at the same time. Or if you prefer to type your question, feel free to type it in the session chat and I'll read it for the interns. Before we begin, I want to remind everyone that the session is being recorded. I'll start off the Q&A with the question for Chloe. Um, what was something that you learned during your internship that was unexpected?
I think the thing that was most unexpected that I learned was the characteristics of a homeless student. You would think that there would be more signs to tell you that a student was experiencing homelessness, but there's really not. They're very subtle signs. And so I think that was the most interesting thing that I learned.
All right. Would anybody else like to answer that question? Yeah, go ahead, Chloe.
I don't know if Professor White told you, but I do have work, and so I do have to leave in 3 minutes. So if
Okay.
anybody wanted to ask me a specific question before I had to leave, I was wondering.
I had a question. I know you and Danielle both had experience, like you said, you were in foster care, and Danielle said she was previously homeless. Did your research during this time help you, I guess, understand or better understand, or I guess improve your like thoughts about your childhood or what you experienced, like learning more about it and made encourage you to want to go into a career in these types of fields just so you can help more people?
Yes and no. When I was a foster kid, I wasn't homeless. I lived with my aunt. So I don't want to say that I know exactly what these kids are going through because I always had a roof over my head. However, my childhood has led me to want to help others because even if we're going through something different, no kid deserves to go through anything really hardship. They deserve to have a happy childhood. And so I would say that me being a foster kid did help me want to be a teacher, but my internship didn't really resolve any childhood problems I had because I wasn't really homeless. So it was like opposite sides of the spectrum, kind of.
Yes, Danielle, go ahead.
So I couldn't remember who what your name was, like, because all the presentations went so fast, my mind just jumbled. I was like, I don't know whose belongs to who, but I remember the foster care thing. So I grew up in foster care too. I was in foster care from age 11 to 18. So you were placed, like, were you able to be like, so you were in foster care, but you were placed with your aunt while you were in foster care? So did
Yeah.
she become a foster parent?
So my story is actually like really long and confusing. I lived with my aunt and then my aunt wasn't doing well, so foster care took us back and then I went to a foster home where they were taking care of us for a while. Then I went back to my aunt and she still wasn't doing good and then I was at the age where I could choose where to live. And so then I lived with my parents for a little bit, but that wasn't good. So ultimately I ended up with my grandma. So my grandma ended up with custody over me when I was like 13.
Oh, cool. So you were able to, you went back and forth. That's usually how a lot of that time, like it works. Even if it's with
Yeah.
family, it's back and forth a lot. That's cool
Mm-hmm.
that you were able to remain mostly with family, like that they were able
Yeah.
to, because a lot of times they'll separate them and cut them off immediately
Mm-hmm.
and don't try any kind of like intervention to like bring families together. So it's awesome that
Yeah.
they were able to do that with you.
I also had my brother too. Me and my brother, he's only a year older than me, so I was really thankful we didn't get separated at all because I would not have been able to do it.
Yep, that happens too. Dang, that's
Mm-hmm.
awesome.
Yes.
Cool.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that. And I know you have to go, Chloe, so thank you again for being here.
Right before I leave, I did have a question I wanted to ask
Hmm.
Miss Davis. I know that you researched the maternal homelessness. I was wondering, in your research, did you find any like age or demographic difference that like kid or people who were like between the ages of 20 to 25 experience homelessness more than people who were 30 to 35? Did you research anything like that?
All right, it looks like she's typing. Okay, just for the recording, I'll read it. She says, uh, her camera's not working or microphone, but no, didn't find any specific ages, but it was mostly women 17 to 28, depending on the situation. All right.
I am going to head out now. I just wanted to say before I leave that I think all of your presentations were super good. I did write notes on them, so I think y'all all did a great job and I loved watching them.
I love that. Well, thank you, Chloe, for being here. You have a good one. All right. Well, let's move on to any other questions. Does anybody else have any questions before I ask any? All right. Oh, yes, Brianna, go ahead.
I was just wondering if anybody during this internship had a sudden like career change, like they thought they wanted to do something else, but then they experienced doing this and kept, I guess, what they were doing in their options and have been seriously thinking about maybe going into more research-based jobs or just something that had to do with what they were learning.
I think I discovered my love of research and like just like the process of doing it. And so and I did end up like when I started, I ended up like looking up different jobs that were research based, but I didn't really find anything. So I'm going to stick on like the same track, but I did discover an absolute love. If I ever came across anything that was research based, I would absolutely apply for sure. I love it.
Yeah, same. I never really done, I guess, as much research as I've done in this internship. So I guess experiencing this kind of, I guess, made it more positive to me because when I thought about research, I kind of like was like, ugh. But now, like actually doing it and being provided, I guess, the resources to get better at it with the help of Dr. White and our meetings, it kind of became, I guess, easier and more fun. So if I ever had the opportunity to, like you said, get a job that might have this provided in it, then I don't think that I would be so negative towards it. More, I'd probably gravitate towards it more. I guess this internship kind of like unlocked things that I probably wouldn't have wanted to done before. So I think that was like a positive thing that came out of this internship. I guess made me more open to, I guess, different opportunities.
and stuff like that.
Yeah, I definitely felt like it was like new skill unlocked. Like I can add a whole new skill to my resume. And I was gonna say something else and then I forgot. Dang it. Oh no, so with the research, what I realized because I had a few essays this semester, and before because I felt the same way about research. Like I was like, oh my God, I had so much anxiety, especially when I had to do research based like essays and articles and stuff. Oh my gosh, it would give me so much anxiety. But now that I know how to research, I'm like for masters and like any continuing education, I'm like, bring it on. I'll be able to write the best papers now that I know how to research. So it's definitely a new skill.
Thank you. Um, this isn't particularly for anybody, but if you'd like to chime in, did your internship change how you view society? Would anybody like to answer that?
To me, I've I guess on when I was researching, I've only known surface level information about homelessness. So I've never had the opportunity, or I guess I never did go actually dig deep into, I guess, the factors that interconnect and what can lead to this. So I think to me, it kind of changed me in a way because before I didn't really know much or how deep or how many things can lead to this pathway and people can experience this. So I think spending my time like learning more about it has changed made me myself think more about the people that I see who might be going through these certain things. And before like you might judge or kind of ignore it, you find out that sometimes it's hard to ignore because it can happen to anybody because it's not just like a one-way street. There's a lot of different things that can, I guess, push people to end up that way. So I guess just during this time, it made me think a lot about how can I help or what resources there are. Because during my time research, I actually found out a lot of like there's a lot of resources out in my community actually that helps people going through homelessness. And I never knew about these places or these there's even like call I forgot what they're called, like hotlines. And they're like places people donate clothes or food. I know they had like food banks, but I didn't know they had like specific places like for mothers. They can buy like diapers or kids' clothes or like shoes. So there's just a lot of like help out there, but also we ourselves can provide a lot of help too by just knowing what's going on in our communities because it can, like I said, it can affect anybody and just having that information on hand, I just think is more positive than kind of just ignoring it. And I just think that a lot of when I was looking at stuff, I just had a lot of stuff that I learned that I wanted to keep in mind and maybe share with the other people around me who might be going through like hard times that can may get worse if they didn't know about these resources that we have around.
Thank you for that reflection. I really enjoyed that. All right. Would anybody like to answer what was the hardest part of your internship?
The hardest part for me was with I know mine was based on research, but I wanted to, be in the field and actually get to experience and see for myself school readiness with children experiencing homelessness. So that was the hardest thing for me. I wish that I could have, like I said, be in the field. But I worked full time, two jobs. So it was very hard for me. And also finding research because I will contact schools so that I can have, better data, especially in my field. So I had to literally research. I had to do everything by research. But I tried to contact BISD to see how many children were actually experiencing homelessness, from kindergarten to fifth grade, and I just could not get that data. Get that data. So that was the hardest thing for me.
Hardest part for me was like when I first started, I wanted to like solve I wanted to solve the problem. I didn't realize like I was just researching the problem. I was like saving the world, right? I wanted to be able to help the students in higher ed who was struggling with college and not having a place to live. So thankfully, Dr. White, she kind of calmed me down on that because I was like, well, how am I supposed to help all of them? And she's like, no, 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 we're not, we're just, we're like filling in the gaps. So that was my hardest part. The hardest part of my internship is me wanting to save the students instead of like finding them resources. I wanted to help all of them.
Yeah, I totally agree with both your answers. That's so relatable. All right. Um, what is one lesson that you will carry with you into your future career?
I think that I'll carry you just don't know what the person next to you is going through. They may not they may be struggling with a problem, and they won't like verbalize that, and so they may come off as like irritable or ugly, but really they're just trying to deal with life. So I think that that's a lesson that I'll take is you just treat everyone with kindness. You don't know what they're going through.
I agree with you said, Cheyenne. I also was thinking that too, like while researching, you really find out that things are different for everybody. Not everything's the exact same. So you have to keep that in mind when you're working with other people because you can't just, I guess, assume you might work with someone one day and then another person, and then you take that information you learned from that one person, you try to, I guess, implement it on that one, but some things aren't the same. So you have to, I guess, know how to adapt. And while researching, you know, like I said, you learn like there's a lot of ways people can end up a certain way. And I guess you have to be like more open-minded and I guess willing to listen to these things. But I know it's, I'm pretty sure everybody know it's probably like hard to do, but I guess just overall just trying to be like more open-minded and I guess seeing the different viewpoints of certain things.
That's so true. I agree with y'all's answers. Okay, and then I have one last question. What advice would you give to the future interns?
I would tell them to try and find or volunteer like for events about their internship. I wish I would have done that. So that you can be have that hands-on experience. It's so many events that that goes on, even if it's not in your city, maybe, but try to find a an event.
That's great advice. Thank you. All right, well, it looks like we're about out of time. So thank you to all of our participants for asking great questions. And thank you to the presenters for sharing their internship experiences with us. When I end this session, you'll be back in the conference welcome center. Well, where you originally entered this session. I encourage you to review the conference schedule and then join us for another session. Thank you, and I hope to see y'all again.